Super Bowl 58 is Sunday. We'll preview the big game matchup and give our own picks.
Juju Watkins is insane. Find out what record she broke over the weekend.
And USC track and field picked up an inspiring and high-flying new commitment. All this and more on Sports Scene.
Welcome back to Sports Scene and happy Super Bowl week. I'm Kasey Kazliner.
I'm Schneider.
And I'm Terence Holton. We are just days away from Super Bowl 58 with both the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers preparing for the big game in Vegas. The Chiefs find themselves in their fourth Super Bowl during the Patrick Mahomes era. With the future Hall of Famer looking for ring number 3, Mahomes looks to join an elite group of only 8 other quarterbacks who have won back-to-back Super Bowls. The 49ers will look to avenge their 2020 Super Bowl loss to Mahomes and the Chiefs. Running back Christian McCaffrey has been unstoppable all year and will look to dominate the ground game. But don't discredit quarterback Brock Purdy and his arsenal of receivers. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle are all sure to cause chaos in the secondary. The 49ers finished the regular season at 12-5, averaging 29 points per game, which was good enough to earn the number 1 seed in the NFC. And after a rocky midseason, the Chiefs finished at 11-6 to win the AFC West, scoring close to 24 points per game. This game may come down to late down situations where the 49ers edged the Chiefs on third down conversion percentage. All right, guys, so who is the biggest X factor in this game?
Well, I think for San Francisco, it's going to be Brock Purdy. He has been a question mark this season in the games that the 49ers have lost. And obviously, he's only in his sophomore season. Lot to prove. He's got a chip on his shoulder as Mr. Irrelevant. I think it's going to come down to Brock Purdy and how he can utilize his offensive weapons. We know the arsenal of receivers he has, plus Christian McCaffrey. So I think it's going to come down to Brock Purdy for San Francisco.
Yeah, and I think for the Chiefs, obvious choice is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. But I also think that running back Pacheco is somebody that we need to look out for. He's what started as like the 251st overall pick, but he's had a lot of touchdowns recently. So.
I think Isaiah Pacheco is a great pick. I'm going to go with Chiefs cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. He's played like an all-pro this entire season. I think if he can shut down some of the 49ers receivers, then it'll be hard to stop them.
Definitely. Well, you've heard our picks to win, but let's go to Will and Thomas to break down the game some more.
What I'm most excited to see in the Super Bowl is the matchup between the signal callers. Before Will and I discuss the two, though, let's hear from the Chiefs' Patrick Mahomes about his 49ers counterpart, Brock Purdy.
He's done a great job in these last 2 years that he's played. I haven't got to play him yet, but he does a great job extending plays. He does a great job making the throws, and he's a winner. I saw that. I didn't play him when he was at Iowa State, but when he was at Iowa State playing against my Red Raiders, he was winning, and he's always been a winner, and that's what it takes in this league. It's not always the flashy plays. Can you go out there and win? And he does both, the flashy, and he wins football games.
Now let's look at the stats between the two quarterbacks here. Obviously, Purdy, you can see there, has the better QBR. He actually had the best QBR in the NFL at 72.7, has thrown more touchdowns, and even has a higher completion percentage. But I think, Will, we can all agree Patrick Mahomes is the better quarterback. But is the gap that big?
Well, it's such an important question because, the Niners have been so dominant over the last half decade or so, getting to Super Bowls, getting to championship games. The reason they have not won the big one yet is because the gap in those games they've lost between the quarterback they had and the quarterback the other team had was so big. And I have bad news for the Niners. That's going to continue. There is a massive gap in this game between Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes. And look no further than the weapons those two are working with. Brock Purdy has arguably the best supporting cast in the National Football League. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, who scores a touchdown every week, and even George Kittle. Yes, Mahomes has Kelce, but the receivers this year have really been lacking for Kansas City. But when the time has come in the playoffs, he's made it work in a big, big way.
But Will, the thing is, Purdy is an NFL quarterback for a reason. We didn't see Jimmy Garoppolo win a Super Bowl. We didn't see Trey Lance. Purdy supplanted Trey Lance. That is because he's a good NFL quarterback. Sure, the gap is there, but Purdy had better stats in the regular season than Mahomes. Again, like you said, the weapons are there. But Purdy still did this when McCaffrey had a career high in rushing yards. And he still put up all of these insane stats. Look, he was third in the NFL in touchdowns, 5th in the NFL in passing yards. It's not just the stats, but he's a proven winner at the NFL level.
Well, you want to talk regular season? I'll talk postseason. In the postseason, the Brock Purdy experiment has been very, very shaky. Against the Packers, terrible first half. Missing throws all over the field.
But he won the game.
He won the game because
right?
the defense gave him in it, and he got down at the end. But I'm telling you, they played two inexperienced teams, Detroit and Green Bay, in the postseason. Detroit left the door wide open with the fourth down calls and the fumbling and all that. We can get into that another time. But the reality is a lot went right for Brock Purdy for them to be able to come back and make that comeback. Patrick Mahomes, on the other hand, is not going to make those same sorts of mistakes. If Brock Purdy has a first half similar to the one he did against Detroit and Green Bay, there won't be an opportunity for a comeback. And I think that possibility is very likely because when you're under the bright lights of the Super Bowl for the first time, Patrick Mahomes has that experience. Brock Purdy does not.
Will, I'm agreeing with you that Patrick Mahomes is inarguably the better quarterback in this game. I'm just saying the gap isn't as big as people are trying to say. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, Patrick Mahomes, a first-round pick, but the gap is not a sixth-round gap. They are a lot closer in skill and experience than people might think.
Well, if you're right about that, the Niners are probably going to be champions. But when we talk about the Chiefs' budding dynasty, a lot of names get mentioned. Mahomes, Kasey, Andy Reid, and even Taylor Swift dominate the headlines. However, longtime defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo has been one of the biggest reasons that KC is in the big game. The Chiefs have run through a gauntlet of elite AFC quarterbacks on their way to Vegas. Spagnuolo's unit turned up the heat against likely MVP Lamar Jackson, recording 4 sacks and turned over the high-powered Ravens offense 4 times. Spags first made his bones as a defensive coordinator with the New York Giants, where he held the 18-0 Patriots to 14 points to win the Super Bowl in 2008. After a brief stint as a head coach in St. Louis, Spagnuolo took the defensive coordinator job with Kansas City and has helped bring in 2 more Lombardi trophies. He has a career 17-4 playoff record as a defensive coordinator in New York and KC. Spags is not the only one with experience in the big game, so let's send it back to Kasey for more on who can truly act like they've been there before.
Well, Patrick Mahomes and company are no strangers to the big stage. While the 49ers retained most of their big stars from their Super Bowl appearance 4 years ago, such as George Kittle and Deebo Samuel, they'll have to compete with a Chiefs team that knows what it takes to hoist the Lombardi Trophy. The Chiefs have had perennial playoff success in the Mahomes era and have shown resilience even when they're not favored to win. San Francisco might be the better team on paper this season, but you can just not discount the championship DNA of Kansas City. Kyle Shanahan's 49ers must be wary of the Chiefs' experience on Sunday in order to get the win, especially with Brock Purdy only being in his sophomore season. Sin City will host a battle between 2 historic franchises looking to bring home some hardware, one with a veteran superstar QB, the other with the new kid on the block.
Of course, with it being Super Bowl, we have a bunch of predictions. A lot is riding on the color of the Gatorade shower, the length of the national anthem, commercials, and much more. From Snickers to Coca-Cola, there are numerous iconic Super Bowl commercials. This year, a 30-second spot costs about $7 million. Uber Eats, M&M's, and Budweiser are among a few big brands putting out commercials this Super Bowl season. So guys, what brands are you guys hoping to see in a Super Bowl commercial this year?
Really, I'm excited for the Paramount Plus commercial. I saw it early on Twitter. I think it is one of the best commercials I have ever seen. I thought it was hilarious. Sir Patrick Stewart throwing an animated child. It was pretty hilarious. Out-throwing Tua, who was in the commercial. I thought it was a great commercial, and I think that will rule superior.
Look, I might get some hate for this, but I'm a big have it your way guy. I want to see the Burger King jingle come back, and I want to know that I can rule the drive-thru when I go to Burger King. I want to see that jingle and simultaneously to the 49ers winning the game.
Well, I'm really interested to see if there's any kind of new Super Bowl commercials, new brands, because of this new shift in demographic that Taylor Swift has brought to the game. So we'll see.
Good point.
But I want to know, what are your guys' predictions on what color the Gatorade shower is going to be this year?
I'll tell you what the Gatorade shower is going to be. All right, so the last 5 Gatorade colors: purple, blue, blue, orange, and blue. It's going to be blue. No question about it. Cool Blue is the best flavor of Gatorade, and I know that the Kansas City Chiefs will be bathing in some blue Gatorade.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. The last time these 2 teams played in the Super Bowl in 2020, it was orange. I got to go stick with that. They're going to try to keep it consistent. And, we know the Chiefs would want that. It would be consistent with them winning, but I think it's going to be orange. Same matchup, same color. You book it.
I have to agree with Terence. I mean, personally, I think Blue Raz is the best flavor ever, so if they want to win, Blue Raz is the way to go. And finally, I have one question for you guys. If the Chiefs win, Do we think there's going to be a Travis Kelce proposal to Taylor Swift on the field?
Well, I mean, if it happens, it's going to be the only ring Travis Kelce gets this year.
Oh.
But I don't think it's going to happen because if you lose the Super Bowl, let's say he loses, it's not going to be a celebrating moment. If they win, still, they've only been together for a very limited amount of time. I think it's a publicity stunt, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Travis Kelce's getting 2 rings. I'm here to book it. Travis Kelce will win this game for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will take this one home, and I think he will end up with Taylor Swift as his fiancée at the end of the game.
That's great. We'll see what happens. Next, we'll get the scoop on the latest men's volleyball season. And women's basketball competed in a wild upset over Stanford. See how they got it done.
Let me tell you how we amplify our Latina voices. Check out Dímelo. We have it all. Deportes.
Entertainment. Noticias. ¿Qué tal? Soy Mariela Gómez y bienvenidos a Dímelo Ahora.
Radio and podcasting.
Comida y cultura. Digital social media.
¿A qué equipo le vas tú? LA Galaxy o LAFC? Dímelo is the only Latina-focused media outlet at USC. Dímelo. We have it all.
Dímelo. We have it all.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun and easy. Soak your chia, spread the seeds, keep it watered, and watch it grow. And now grow a whole collection of fun with Chia teddy bears, puppies, kittens, rams, bulls. There's even a chia tree to keep your pets company. Chia Pets and Trees, the pottery that grows.
The Chia Pet and Chia Tree are available at Kmart, Rite Aid, Ames, and Woolworth. Makes a great gift.
I've become the first above-the-knee amputee to ever be recruited, receive an offer, and now commit to a Division I school for track and field. I'm excited to continue my academic and athletic career competing against able-bodied athletes at the University of Southern California. Let's go Trojans! Fight on, baby!
Ezra Fretch was born with only one finger on his left hand and completely missing his left knee and shin bone. That did not stop him from achieving great measures. Ezra currently holds the T63 high jump world record and is set to be a part of USC's track and field jumps roster after competing in the 2024 Paralympics. Ezra's commitment to USC speaks to the inclusivity and diversity of USC athletic programs. Maren Sullivan, a graduate distance runner from USC, shared her journey being deaf and a student athlete. In this video, Maren documents how she trains with her cochlear implant when it rains. Maren gives her advice to audience like putting her implant in a dry box to get moisture out before lifts and encouraging her audience to keep training and showing up even if their cochlear implant dies. Maren and Ezra's stories highlight the power of overcoming adversity and challenging oneself to achieve their dreams.
USC men's volleyball took on the number 19 Tritons from UCSD in back-to-back games last week. The Trojans beat the Tritons in a sweeping win last Friday after a tough loss in San Diego 2 days prior. The Trojans currently sit at 7-3, including 6 home wins. The number 15 Trojans dominated the Tritons across the board last Friday as they averaged more kills, digs, and blocks per set. The Trojans traveled to Irvine to take on number 7 UCI tonight before heading back home next weekend against the Anteaters.
USC women's basketball took a road trip to Northern California this weekend, taking on number 4 Stanford and unranked Cal. Juju Watkins put up 51 points against Stanford Friday night, a career high for the freshman guard, and a USC program all-time high. Scored all but 16 of her team's points in the Trojans' 67-58 victory over Stanford, marking the most points scored by any Division I basketball player, men's or women's, this season. She was 6 of 11 from 3 and was clutch at the free throw line as well, hitting 17 of 19 on the night. Watkins' final 2 points came at the line, causing her teammates to erupt in celebration on the sideline. Kasey was at the game to witness Watkins' highlight reel performance.
This is Kasey Kazliner from Annenberg Media. What a game here from Stanford. Juju Watkins leading the upset, 51 points, a career high, and a historical performance for Juju Watkins, doing it all herself. A great game for USC, getting an upset over one of the best teams in the country, and the USC getting a much-needed win over a rocky week, led by Juju Watkins, the freshman, and a touted performance from her, getting a huge win on a 51-point double-double. Kasey Kazliner from Annenberg Media, signing off.
USC also defeated Cal 79-69 Sunday, but even with these two wins, USC sits at 6th place in the Pac-12 this season. The Pac is full of talented teams, including 6 in the top 25. USC has the potential to make an NCAA tournament run, but the question is, how far will the Trojans go? What do you think, Kasey?
Well, firstly, I just want to say, I mean, this team, I don't even think this is a hot take, has the chance to go all the way. I think, of course, they had a rocky week playing some tough Pac-12 opponents, but I think playing in such a tough Pac-12 is going to give them the confidence to play in a competitive environment, especially if they do well in the tournament. I think they can go all the way, but if not, I think the Final Four is where I have them on lock.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think Juju Watkins could get better than this, but it seems like she's really hitting her stride here. So I don't doubt they can make it all the way, maybe even to the national championship, but I'm excited to see where Juju Watkins leads this team.
I'm ready to book this team to the national championship. In women's basketball, you really need that one star player who can take you the distance. Juju Watkins is that star player. She will be the best player in women's basketball next year. I firmly believe that. Cam, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, you guys. I think you're right on the nose there, Terence. She is absolutely going to be the best women's basketball player next year, and I'm really excited for the future of women's basketball with Juju at the helm. Women's basketball looks to continue climbing in the polls this weekend with 2 Pac-12 matchups here at Galen Center. USC takes on Arizona State Friday at 7 p.m., followed by a matchup against Arizona Monday at 6 p.m. Back to you, Kasey.
Thanks, Cam. Annenberg Media's Pickle Coleman sat down with guard Mackenzie Forbes to talk about the team's success.
I'm so excited to be here today with Mackenzie Forbes. She is a first-year grad student, and she is a point guard on the USC women's basketball team. Thank you so much for coming. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
We are so excited to have you. So let's get started. I want to hear a little bit about these recent past 2 games. Very historic for USC women's basketball. We had Juju's 51 points against Stanford. Another amazing win against Cal. What did it mean for you to, go back north? I know you're from NorCal and secure these wins.
Yeah, it was huge. I think obviously being from NorCal was fun to kind of go home and get 2 wins. But even bigger for our team, I think it was huge momentum-wise for us to kind of gain some traction in the middle of the Pac-12 season. Obviously, Juju with an insane performance. Everyone's talking about, as we should, well-deserved. She's an incredible player, but yeah, definitely just huge, I think, morale boost for the team.
Absolutely, and I know you've played at Cal, you've played at Harvard. What has it meant for you being on, such a highly ranked USC women's team? I mean, you guys are ranked 10th in the AP poll, 6th in the Pac-12. Like, what does this mean to you?
Yeah, it's meant everything for me. Obviously, being a California kid, I have a lot of family in LA. It's been amazing in my last year to have my parents at every game. A lot of cousins come to the LA game, so it's been really fun for me, and I think just the pride in the school and for this team to really kind of represent and put on for women's basketball has been really fun.
Absolutely. Personally and as a team, like, what, has been getting you guys going? Like, do you guys do, like, a pump-up song? Like, where is the magic coming from?
The magic? I don't know. I think, we have a combination of talented freshmen and then a lot of grad transfers who it's our last year. We want to go out with a bang. We want to win. So I think that drive and hunger just comes from within, and we're all super motivated to have the best season that we can and go as far as possible.
Absolutely. And then, you've already had like 3 seasons under your belt. Why did you make the move to come to USC for your final season?
Yeah, so I actually played for Coach Gottlieb my freshman year at Berkeley. She was the head coach there. Yeah, she ended up going to the Cavs in the NBA, which was amazing. Super happy for her. I did my stint at Harvard, and it was kind of just like a full circle moment. I wanted to be back in California. I knew it would be a good team, and I knew there was a need for me. And then, USC, just how can you beat it? Los Angeles, great school, great resources, so super happy.
Yeah, and then just more broader, like, let's talk about women's basketball as a whole across the country. I mean, there is so much hype, so much popularity, like gaining more views for women's college basketball games than NBA games recently. What does this mean for you as a women's basketball player?
Yeah, I think it's like about time, We've had talent this since Cheryl Miller days, and I think we're just finally getting that platform that we deserve, and I think we're proving that we're well worth it. Obviously with players like Juju, with players like Caitlin Clark, it's just been incredible to see and just super grateful to be, still playing while we're getting those flowers we deserve.
And then finally, I just want to ask you, what are your goals personally and as a team for the rest of the season going into the postseason?
Yeah, for sure. We have, Final Four goals. We want to finish out the Pac-12 strong, hoping to sweep the rest of these home wins and win some tough ones on the road. But yeah, we're just focused on practice day by day and taking each game one game at a time.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on Sports Scene, Mackenzie. We are so excited to have you, and we are so excited to watch the rest of this amazing basketball season and what's to come.
Forbes has been a reliable second option for the Trojan and has been a main contributor to their success.
USC women's lacrosse is coming off a great season. Finishing 16-4 overall and 9-1 in the Pac-12, the Trojans ultimately fell in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Going into this season, the Trojans are looking promising. USC is ranked number 17 in the preseason coaches poll, and they were selected first in the Pac-12 preseason coaches poll as well. The Trojans will relocate their 7 home games due to renovations, playing 5 games at Dignity Health Sports Park and 2 at the LA Memorial Coliseum. The Trojans play their first game of the season on Friday in West Point, as USC will take on number 15 Army in an immediate test to start the year. On Sunday, the Trojans will play the Villanova Wildcats to conclude their first weekend of play. Let's go back to Will and Thomas, who have 2 very different picks this week.
Thanks, Grace. I'm back with Thomas to name our Trojans of the week. We both would have chosen Juju Watkins if we could, but our producers said no. So when men's basketball gets its first win since January 6th, I've got to take a member of Andy Enfield's squad. I'm going with DJ Rodman. In a dominant win over Oregon State on Saturday, Rodman shined the brightest off the bench. Rodman scored 12 points on 4 of 8 shooting and snagged 14 rebounds to lead the Trojans and record the game's only double-double.
Minna Abraham is a freshman for the women's swim and dive team, and she had an incredible weekend for the Trojans, helping USC upset both Stanford and Cal. She clinched the Trojans' first win over the Golden Bears since 2016 on Saturday as she anchored the 200-yard freestyle. The very next day, she came back from a 1-second deficit in the 400-yard freestyle relay to help USC beat Stanford for the first time since 1996. So, Will, you got Rodman, I got Abraham. Why is Rodman the Trojan of the week?
Let me tell you a story. It goes back to last Thursday. USC welcomes in Oregon to Galen Center. They lose another game. The losing streak continues. The season seems to be up in flames. And Andy Enfield comes to the post-game podium after the game and calls his team poor rebounders and says he wants to see attitude of big men he's had in the past. Someone had to answer the call, and that person was DJ Rodman. The 14 boards he got against Oregon State on Saturday in that massive win.
Massive win against an unranked team
meaning they
who's
won,
in the bottom of the
They
Pac-12?
won by a lot of points, and those 14 rebounds were the most by any Trojan this entire season. Someone answered the call when the head coach called out the team publicly, and that was Rodman.
Look, man, Oregon State is a bad team. Look what Abraham did against the number 4 and number 5 team in the country. Oh, and did I forget to mention, against Cal, she also won the 200-yard freestyle, the 100-yard freestyle, and touched second in the 500-yard freestyle. She's not only helping USC clinch wins, she's doing so many other things to help the Trojans win.
I'll just say in response to that, look, you say Oregon State's not great. Well, guess what? Neither is USC. That was expected to be a much closer game than it was. USC blew the brakes off him, and Rodman's response had a lot to do with that. And I think a big tell for how good a game you have is the minutes you get off the bench. DJ Rodman, because he was hitting the glass so well, especially on the offensive side, he had 5 offensive rebounds that led to second chance buckets. He had more minutes in that game than 2 of USC's starters. And my prediction going forward, we're going to see a lot more of DJ Rodman given that he answered Enfield's call.
Well, you might see a lot more Rodman. We're going to see a lot more Abraham. She's only a freshman. She'll be here for 3 more years potentially, and she's already doing this as a freshman. I'd much rather have my Trojan of the Week be a player on the number 7 team in the country beating up on the number 5 and number 4 teams in the country, but we will send it back to Terence at the desk.
USC women's volleyball landed a major transfer this past week with the commitment of former Nebraska outside hitter Allie Battenhorst. At Nebraska, Battenhorst racked up kills with 538 over her 3-year career with the Cornhuskers. Battenhorst comes with a level of NCAA experience the Trojans need as she's played in 2 national championship games. In a quote from Brad Keller, the USC women's volleyball coach, "The addition of Allie Battenhorst is a game changer for our program. She's accomplished and has played at the highest level of collegiate volleyball throughout her career." Battenhorst will look to uplift the Trojans to a whole new level and hopefully compete with some of the best programs in the country next year in the Big Ten. National Signing Day is today. Let's see which USC football recruits got picked up. And the World Cup is coming to LA. See which games you can catch at SoFi Stadium.
Bonjour, je suis le grand musique.
Je suis la jeune fille.
Yes, that's French they're speaking. And no, these children aren't French. They're American. And they've acquired their amazing new language skills from Muzzy, the remarkable new video language program for children developed by the British Broadcasting Corporation. With this unique BBC language course, children learn a second language with incredible ease. 4 delightful videos quickly become their favorite TV show and teaches children the same way they learned English. Learning another language becomes fun. You'll be amazed when your children begin speaking and understanding their new language from the very first day through this unique method. The entire course, 4 videos, 2 audio cassettes, the activity book, and the Parents' Guide and Answer book is available in French, Spanish, Italian, or German.
To order, use your credit card and call this number. We'll ship and charge you $28.08 a month for 6 months. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call 1-800-424-0700.
Okay, this stuff is really amazing. I mean, I put it in my mouth and I taste watermelon, but it's not just that. I taste strawberry too, but it's kind of like a watermelon-y strawberry put together. Hey, hang on. Sorry about that. And the bubbles are really awesome. I mean, that's why they call it Max, I guess, obviously. That sort of makes sense once you think about it. Oh, I'm Dan, and that's Chuck.
Hubba Max, a whole new kind of bubble. Hey!
The United States is one of 3 countries hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Over the weekend, games were allocated to host sites around the nation. Here in Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium is set to host 8 matches over the course of the tournament. The U.S. men's national team will play 2 group stage matches at SoFi, where 3 knockout stage fixtures will also kick off. The 2 World Cup semifinals will be held at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta and Gillette Stadium in Massachusetts. The final is set to go down at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, the home of the New York Giants and Jets.
Today is National Signing Day, and the Trojans' new defensive coaching staff will welcome some touted recruits. Linebacker Jaden Walker, cornerback Isaiah Rubin, and defensive lineman Ratumana Bulabalavu all signed with USC and will help bolster the Trojan defense. USC took advantage of Walker and Bulabalavu flipping their commitments, which indicates the improvement on the defensive coaching side. Following a season of defensive disappointment, the new regime will hope to turn things around. That is all the time we have today. Once again, thank you for tuning into Sports Scene from Annenberg Media. I'm Kasey Kazliner.
I'm Grace Schneider.
And I'm Terence Holton.